Good evening. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Cunningham Town Board for Monday, July 11th, 2022. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Miss Wu,
Here.
Mr. Evans,
Here.
Miss Hersey, Miss Colasetti, Miss Bishop,
Here.
Miss Wilkin,
Here.
Mr. Quisenberry, Mayor Marlin,
Here.
Miss Chenoweth, Mr. Williams.
Okay. Would you like to state who's here representing the township?
Jasmine Hernandez, Program Director.
And Nicole Filia, Operations Director.
Thank you. All right, next item is approval of minutes from the June 13th meeting and the June 13th public hearing. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Chandra. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion passes. Next item, additions to the agenda. I haven't heard of any. I don't believe there are any. Next up is public participation. Does anyone wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to committee to verify bills.
As you can see, we had $52,069.94 in town fund expenses, $96,558.31 in general assistance, for a total of $148,628.25.
Make sure the mic's close. So,
Oh, yes. Do you want me to repeat that?
I think I caught it. But
Okay, sorry. I have a microphone phobia.
Okay. Any questions about the town bills? Town fund or general assistance fund? Okay, could we have a motion to place that on file or to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve bills. Town Fund and General Assistance Fund.
Okay. Moved by Chandra,
I'll second.
seconded by Mary Alice. Further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Miss Wu,
Yes.
Mr. Evans,
Yes.
Miss Colasetti,
Yes.
Miss Bishop,
Yes.
Miss Wilkin,
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry's not here.
That motion passes. Next up are reports of officers or representatives.
Okay, so for this past month, under general assistance, we have 65 current participants. 11 of those are neighbors without a residence. On our education and employment track, we currently have 2 participants pursuing training opportunities and 4 are being screened for goals and interests. Our disability and wellness tracks, we currently have 12 participants that have been awarded Social Security or Social Security disability income since July of 2021. 16 participants were awarded in the last fiscal year. We have, under transportation assistance, MTD began charging bus fares again in July of 2021. To this date, we have helped buy 57 annual passes at $60 each. And attained 55 dash passes, which are free to those who qualify, which save the township $3,300. Our vaccination assistance is currently paused at this time, so the numbers are still reflecting where we have 63 participants who have received this incentive. Rental assistance, in the last month, we supported 20 households with rental assistance, and our current rules, starting June 1st, we re-implemented a max of 2 months of assistance based on need. Under housing advocacy, so we currently have 385 participants representing 234 households who received help applying for subsidized housing since our housing advocacy program started in July 1st of 2020. To this date, we have successfully helped house 107 households. As of recent, the COVID housing vouchers, so in total, the county received 163 vouchers 50 of those were COVID-19 specific vouchers. The other 113 vouchers were the EHV vouchers received. CTSO in total has made 76 referrals for those EHV vouchers, and 59% or 59 households or 77% have been awarded vouchers. To break that down a little further from the 113, 76 households are actively housed. 26 of those are awarded and are actively looking for housing, and the other 11 are in different stages of being awarded a voucher. Our housewarming program, to this day, we have assisted 41 homeless households that have moved into subsidized housing, getting their initial furniture. And then going into our Bridge to Home homeless services, this is our continuum services at Cunningham Township. So under street outreach this past month, we are supporting 13 households. Under emergency housing in the last month, 4 households were sheltered in a hotel. One of those households has moved into permanent housing with a permanent support voucher, and another household transferred into Rosecrans 14-day transitional program. In our rapid rehousing program, we currently have 3 active households. 2 of those households are single males. 1 household is a married couple with a young child. All households are housed right now and are working or looking for work. We continue to run our Good Morning Breakfast, hot breakfast to residents. In June, there was a total of 1,040 breakfasts served. The Low Barrier Winter Emergency Shelter closed in April 16th of 2022 due to the concerns about homeless women's unique needs, sexual violence, stalking, and LGBTQ plus safety. We, as well as encouragement from other homeless service providers, CTSO is preparing a request for funds to operate a low barrier shelter for Urbana, for women in Urbana, and for those that identify as LGBTQ plus. In our emergency housing for Urbana families, the total households served are 52, including 56 adults and 93 children. In the last month, 8 households were served. 2 families have moved out of emergency housing. 1 exited with an emergency housing voucher, and 1 exited to Maple Grove transitional housing. We currently have 19 children in our program. The utility support, we have seen a decrease. Part of this decrease is that as of June 1st, we changed our rules due to our budget. So we decreased our assistance to only be able to serve Urbana, as well as we now require a denial or a letter from either Salvation Army or RPC's LIHEAP program that they're not able to provide support for them, and then the household can come to us. So in the last month, that's why you see there's 3 households helped, which is down from the 21 households in May. But since the program has launched, we have served 173 households, and 145 of those were served in fiscal year 2022. The housing case management in Urbana schools, the numbers haven't changed from last month due to school being out. We are still accepting referrals and doing screenings. Those, however, right now are at the door, so they're being counted separately than from the school referrals. Our digital inclusion campaign is also the numbers of May. Unfortunately, we had a delay in getting the numbers from our partner in that. And lastly, our Bucket Brigade. So our partnership with Channing Murray's, they now deliver 20 bags of food to Urbana households per week. We are in the process of helping them expand food partners to accommodate more people, which is why we're currently at the 20 households to serve. We have served 6,050 people, including 2,494 children from the start of March 25th, 2020 to December 2021. Any questions?
Chandra and Mary Alice.
Hi, thanks for walking us through this. I just wanted a bit of clarification on the disability and wellness track, that first bullet. 12 participants awarded since July 2021, 16 participants in the last fiscal year. So the last fiscal year being July 2020 to June 30th of 2021. Do I have?
So the 16th, 2022, right?
Oh,
So that's why it doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Oh, I see that. Oh. I didn't catch that earlier. I will get back to you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And also, question on the household transfer to Rosecrans, 14-day transitional housing. What happens to them after their 14 days? Does Rosecrans
So-
help them secure housing after that?
Yes, so the goal with this particular individual is to go into their permanent group home, supportive group home.
Gotcha.
I can't say that that's always the plan for everybody, but there is some case management that's added on to that 14-day transitional stay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mary Alice.
Hi, I know that the education and employment track kind of recently got rebooted, right? So if we have 65 participants, I know some of them are, don't have to do the education or employment track. What are the guidelines for whether or not you have to belong? Because we have 6 people right now in the combination of that, but we have 65 people who are participants.
Yeah, so part of that, and I don't have the exact numbers, but we are seeing in the way our general assistance applications that are coming in through the door break up is that a majority of them are for folks that need to go on the disability track. And the reason for that is because they are actively trying to attain Social Security, SSI or SSDI, or that's their ultimate goal. So they're working with primary care doctors and specialists to get on the track to apply for SSI.
So it sounds to me like there's more than, I mean, right now we have the number of people who've been awarded SSI and SSDI, but we don't have the number of people who are in active cases, right?
You're asking for like the breakdown per track?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that if there's 6 people here, that would leave 59 people. Does that mean that 59 people are in the process of trying to apply for SSI, SSDI?
Yes, in different forms. So some folks are pending their SSI application,
Sure.
some folks are actively. There's also our TANF track, which is much smaller. It's our family track. And then we also have our SOAR disability track. So we do have some folks that are applying for SSI through a specific program, which is SOAR.
All right. It just seems unusually high to have that. I don't
Yeah.
remember that in the previous, when we had this program pre-COVID, going on to have that large of a difference.
Yeah, and it's been, I mean, it's been a learning curve for us too. It's been a little bit astonishing to see the numbers kind of transition, but majority of the applications we're seeing now are for disability.
All right. Thank you.
Chris.
So if I applied for SSI or Social Security disability today, how long would it take?
It's a hard question to answer. Some folks can be awarded in as little as 6 months. Other folks, it's taken 2, 3, 4 years more. So it really depends on the circumstances of the individual or of the household.
Jaya.
Thank you for this report. I noticed under street outreach, it says members of the public are encouraged to call CTSO for wellness checks on residents who may be homeless. I was hoping you could speak to that, like the process and also what that might look like a little bit more.
Yeah, so we have a designated street outreach case manager that is out pretty much daily, about 7 out of the 8 hours of the day. But basically, so if we receive a call at the office or Martel, which is the case manager, they also have their line that they give out the number to. But if anybody, whether it's the person in crises or an advocate or somebody that's just witnessing something outside, they can call our office. They can simply give us a description of the situation that they witnessed. And then we essentially prioritize, because we need to know where Martel is at. So we prioritize if we're getting multiple calls, and then we dispatch Martel or other staff to that location. We do, and when we're on the phone, we do share that if a person is in, severe crisis where it puts our staff in jeopardy or in safety risk, that they may be accompanied by the crisis team through the law enforcement.
Grace.
Thanks again for the presentation and joining us here. I appreciate answers to my some questions and emails beforehand, so I just would share those publicly as well. You already addressed the one about housing vouchers, and my other question, just for the public, was about the low barrier winter emergency shelter, and saying that Cunningham Township supervisor is preparing to request funds to operate a low barrier shelter in Urbana for women identified and LGBTQ homeless residents. And I think that sounds great, just, I don't know, input as a board member. I don't know if it's, asked or not, but I think that sounds like a very good use of some funds and something we definitely need. And so my question was if that was referring to ARPA funds from the city, the county, anything in particular, and got the response that we'll let Danielle, the supervisor, speak to that when they come back into the country from hopefully enjoyable travels. And then my last question that I had sent earlier, I'm realizing now is a weird typo, so it doesn't make sense. I called it the emergency winter housing, but I was referring to the emergency housing for Urbana families as being the California properties, or could you, which one is labeled as, or how's the California properties labeled on here? I always get confused on that.
Yeah, so you're right. So it's the emergency housing for Urbana families, that's the California properties. The emergency housing that's listed up above, that's our hotel that's under the continuum.
Which one's the hotel? I'm sorry.
The one that's in between street outreach and rapid rehousing on that same
one's
page.
hotels. Okay.
Page 3.
And so with the emergency housing for Urbana families, it said this many families served since July 2020, but the California place hasn't been in operation that long, right? Was that the hotel and other things before that?
Yeah, so that's when, so July 2020 is when we reamped the program in the hotel. And then that's when we transitioned to the California when we acquired the property.
Okay, thank you. And I had another one too, a new one. If you don't have the details on this one, that's okay too. But about utility support, because it looked like there was a big need recently that 145 out of the 173 were served in just this fiscal year, as opposed to the past year and a half, closer to 2 years almost. So it looks like there was like a strong recent need, and I understand the shrinking of angel donor funds and that there's not much to do about that necessarily directly. But I was just wondering if you had a sense if that was still a strong need, or if RPC stuff has it covered, or there's still a strong need for that utility support for people kind of outside of the county has available.
Mm-hmm. So in our office, and I don't have the exact number, but we have seen a decrease in calls for utility assistance. I would be safe in saying that I don't think we exceeded 21 calls, which was the 21 approved cases in May for June. So I'd say that's a positive thing, and we have heard from RPC that they have, their money to spend and will be spending it.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Chandra?
Just one more real quick. The case management in the Urbana schools, you said, it says you have 5 active currently. Like now that it's summer, what does active look like?
Yeah, so active could mean a few different things. In the majority, what it means is that they have applied for rental assistance and their application is in process of having a decision made for that rental assistance.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Wayne is not here. We'll move on to unfinished business. I don't believe there is any. There's no new business. So with this business being done before this meeting, we will adjourn. And then the Urbana City Council meeting is scheduled to start at 6:30 p.m.